To the November 14th meeting of the Town Board. We have public hearings, workshop, and our regular meeting. Please join me as we pledge allegiance to our flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, may I have a motion to accept the minutes of November 7th?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the first, we have public hearings on the agenda, but we also have our town comptroller who's been here all day, and we're going to just let him give us a update on the budget that we're adopting tonight. So you want to come on up, Mr. Carey?
Good evening. I handed out a one-page summary, which just changes what we had, financial summary I sent to you previously on the preliminary budget hearing. So I just want to reiterate what we're doing, that I sent out the proposed changes that I highly recommend we make to the preliminary budget. In essence, in summary form, there's no change to the tax levy. Basically what I did is I shifted $30,000 in the tax levy from the highway fund to the general fund, because we are considering implementing a program of security screening in the courtroom. So this $30,000 basically was reduced in the highway fund from certain appropriations, but I believe were excessive when we worked on them in the tentative budget process. So I'm comfortable with those changes in the highway fund. So basically we reduced the highway fund by $30,000 and increased the general fund by $30,000 and are putting it in the contingent account right now until we determine what the actual budget will be for this court screening. In addition, in the general fund, I went through all the accounts and we reduced some accounts, temporary labor, some benefits, and some contractual expenditures, and specifically for fuels, because the motor vehicle fuels costs have basically stabilized. So we freed up what we consider $20,000 by reducing certain general fund appropriations, and again, we transferred that $20,000 to the contingent account. So basically, the contingent account went from $100,000 in your preliminary budget hearing to $150,000. So when you implement the court screening program, which is estimated to be $30,000 plus for the whole year, we will take those monies out of the contingent account. The entire budget is only is a very conservative budget, and I'm a little concerned on the revenue side, but I believe maybe we can meet those estimates on the revenue side, very optimistic amounts. I have to congratulate our town supervisor who really reviewed those accounts with me and Joanne very detailed. So the spending increase is only 2.6% in the town-wide budget, and that's basically driven by the mandate, the obligations in your bargaining agreement. So we trimmed every account we could, especially in the contractual accounts. We just got actually on Friday, we just received the medical insurance rates. They always come late for the medical insurance plans for your employees. They are basically going up about 8%. And I guess you've read a lot about Obamacare stuff in the news, so basically we're going to experience about an 8 to 10% increase in our medical insurance plans. We budget around 10, so they fall within our budget estimates. That was good news. The retirement rates have stabilized, which was good news. We are appropriating $117,000 of your fund balance reserved last year to stabilize the tax rate. The tax rate is only going up 5 cents. Which falls within your 2% cap. We left some room in the cap of about $8,000, so I'm comfortable that we're well within the tax cap. The average increase for the homeowner is about $6. So, and the biggest budget within the town-wide budget is the police department. It represents about 29% of your total budget. The increase in the police budget is basically driven by labor costs, and that's going up about 4.7%. So I strongly suggest you adopt the resolution that's being proposed tonight, so we can finalize and file this our adopted budget with the county.
TC again, thank you so much for you and your staff and with the supervisor putting together a tight budget and a well-thought-out budget, and I do appreciate that.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No, thanks.
No real questions. I do appreciate, obviously, how hard you and Joanne have worked on putting this together. I feel good about it. It's good to be coming in under the tax cap. There's, as you say, some things that we're doing to offset the expenses, using part of the fund balance that we built up last year. I think we put $385,000 in last year into our fund balance, so it's good for us to be able to capture some of that and keep the rate low. And I do feel good that we were able to fund the security security changes at the police court facility. Ken and I met with the judges this past week, and we're shooting for January 1st to implement those.
Okay.
So the chief was there as well, and I think it's going to be an important improvement in our security over there. So, and I know that Emily spent time talking with Walt about the highway budget, and he's comfortable with that. I think we have purchased 3 trucks in the last couple of years, so I think that we're doing pretty well with the truck replacement, and so I think overall, it's looking good.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
So much.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
Thank you.
Good luck with your daughter tomorrow. Okay. Okay, so we have 2 public hearings on the agenda tonight. Madam Clerk, would you please read the public hearing notice for the rural events law? Oh, it's a continuation, so we don't need to.
Sorry.
Okay, so, Mr. Raplansky, you want to give us an update on where we are on
Yes, let me
this
see,
very well-processed law?
a very well-processed law. The never-ending comments, it's just
Says come through.
relentless.
Go
So basically, we had thought we had received all our comments. We received some additional comments from Jennifer Van Tile, which we took into consideration. I reviewed it with Victoria, who actually drafted the law. Emily weighed in on a couple of things, so I've emailed to you, you should have it, a copy of the revised.
The revised law.
Law, which made some changes that we've agreed with Jennifer Van Tile, and Victoria confirmed that we should make those changes, and made a change that Emily agreed with also. So basically, I think the law, at this point, is in final form. Unfortunately, we can't vote on it tonight because we've made another change to it. So what we're going to do, if it's okay, is close the public hearing and then adjourn it to the next town board meeting. I've made contact with our planning board that's going to do an expedited review. I don't think they're going to weigh in on the law. And I've made contact with Dutchess County Planning, and I'm going to see if they can sign off without any further review. And then it'll be just a matter of amending the resolution, which I've already prepared, and voting on it at the next meeting.
So are we referring it to them, or
I'm
we're?
going to take care of it.
Okay.
I'm going to just send it down to Hillary.
Heather.
Heather, whatever.
One of those.
One of those.
So we don't need to
With an H.
formally refer it?
If, I think we're all in agreement that I'll take care of the referral.
I don't know, I'm just wondering if Emily is more comfortable having it formally referred.
I mean, unless that puts us on a longer timeline that we don't want to be on. it
It'll be,
seem-
put us on a longer timeline.
Even if they turn it around this week?
What's the formal, it has to come from the town somehow. It usually comes from the town attorney, it can come from the clerk.
Okay, I mean, I'll trust you
It doesn't have
if
to
you.
come from the town clerk.
Okay, I
I
just
think
want
it's
to.
easier if I just do it and walk her through it.
I just want us to have a good record.
Yeah, we'll have a good
That's all.
record, don't worry
Okay.
about that, yeah. If it's okay with you, Donna, you don't mind if I take it?
Not at all.
Okay, so we'll open the public hearing, then we'll close it and adjourn the vote till
Right.
the next meeting.
And with the understanding that I'll be I've already made contact with
Okay.
the planning board, and I'll be speaking.
Okay, with Heather.
With Heather tomorrow, so she can see the final version.
Okay, good. Okay, so may I have a motion to open the public hearing on the rural events law?
Make a
So
motion.
moved.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Would anyone like to come on up to the podium and speak on the rural events law? If you do, please do state your name and address and keep your comments to 3 minutes. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any comments, so may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So we have a second public hearing on the DEVEREUX Foundation's establishment of the community residence at 21 Beck Road. And this one, the clerk does have to read the public hearing notice, so please do.
Please take notice that the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park shall hold a public hearing on November 14th, 2016, at 7:05 PM at the Hyde Park Town Hall, located 4383 Albany Post Road, Hyde Park, New York, pursuant to Section 41.34C2 of the Mental Hygiene Law, on formal notification received from DEVEREUX, New York, of their intent to develop a four-person supervised individual residential alternative, IRA, for people with developmental disabilities at 21 Beck Road, Hyde Park, New York, 12601. Copies of the notification and all other documentation received from DEVEREUX are on file with the town clerk's office and may be inspected during normal business hours. Any person desiring to speak at said public hearing on this matter shall be provided with an opportunity to do so. By order of the Town Board of the Town of Hyde Park, dated November 3rd, 2016, Hyde Park, New York, Donna McGrogan, Town Clerk.
Okay, well, thank you very much. So did we already open it? Did we?
That opens it.
Oh, okay, so we don't need to have anything further, any further motion. Okay, so would anyone from the public like to come on up and speak on this, the formation of a community residence at 21 Beck Road? Sure, just please state your name and keep your comments to 3 minutes.
Okay, hello, my name is Rosemarie Visbeck. My husband Nicholas, I own the property at 21 Beck Road. We've been there for 20 years, we built it, we had our children there, and our home became the neighborhood hangout. Over the years, I've hosted foreign exchange students and have had other students live with us. I am absolutely thrilled that my children have moved on and married and have grandchildren now, that the house, that this corporation would like to buy it. So in my heart, I'll know that my house will always have children in it. So thank you for your time.
Okay, well, thank you.
It's your son Nick, right?
Yep.
Football with my
Yeah.
son, yeah. How you doing?
Okay. Would anyone else like to come on up and speak on the formation of the home at 21 Beck Road? Hi.
Hi, probably remember me. Terry Birtles, 22 Conley Drive, and as you know, we have a group home that's coming on from Anderson School to our neighborhood, and you worked very hard on that, and I appreciate that. And when we left on the last meeting, I asked if you would follow up and find out the definition of what is a cluster, as this will be number 13 of the number of homes that are coming off the tax rolls. And this impacts everybody in Hyde Park. Be it they live in a trailer, they live in a home, they live in a cottage, they work in a business, they're renting an apartment. We have more homes off of the tax rolls than other towns in Dutchess County, as we showed in our numbers when we were presenting for 22 Conley Drive. So it is my request that you could follow up on that. And if they will not, since 1978, when this law went into the books, they have not given the definition of a cluster. I believe that Hyde Park has a cluster. I mean, it's a great concept. This will be the second neighborhood that I've lived in that has a group home. That's not the problem. The problem is the taxes and how it affects everyone. So if they will not define it for us, I would hope that we could, as Hyde Park, encourage them to say, hey, 12, 13, that's enough, or this many acres, that's enough. And that's all I'd like to say, and thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Would anyone else like to speak on the proposed group home? Okay, if not, then may I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Make a motion?
And a second?
Second?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so, as we learned so very well with the Conley Drive experience, None of us on the board had ever thought about this before, and so that was our trial run. And I have to say that we did learn a lot. I think the critical thing is that, if there is not the obvious thing is if there's not a justification for opposing it, that I'm going to suggest that we just have a resolution that would not oppose. And Warren, are you able to kind of craft that law for us? Or
Yeah,
not law, but
I
that-
mean, the options, you have, just to address the issue of cluster, the term cluster is not used
Can
in
you
the
speak into
statute.
that? Can you speak into this?
It's an overconcentration of these types of homes in a certain area, and there is no definition, unfortunately. And it's done, decisions are made on a case-by-case basis, and there really isn't much guidance in the statute. And we're as frustrated, municipalities are as frustrated as residents are. Can't provide you with that definition because it doesn't exist. With regard to this, your options are to oppose the project on the basis of a overconcentration of group homes in that area. Has nothing, there's no grounds to oppose it on a town-wide basis, that there are too many homes or similar homes within the town, or to suggest an alternative site, or to do nothing, which in case, and if you do nothing, then at the expiration of the 40-day period, they'll simply move forward with the project. So if you want to do nothing, my advice would be to just do an oral resolution to take no further action on this.
Emily, could you?
I just wanted to say that, in my opinion that I've stated before, is that we welcome people with disabilities in the town of Hyde Park. And to me, the tax concern, what we should be looking into is whether the town can get some relief from the state or through a payment in lieu of taxes or some other form to address the specific tax impact. But I don't see any reason that we would oppose this particular location.
Yeah, I would agree. I spoke with Supervisor. I would love to have a workshop with our state senator, with Sue Serino, to really talk about the implications. This is really at a state level, so she's our representative, and I would love to reach out to her and her staff to maybe try to figure out a way to bridge all these organizations, so that way they can really be good neighbors and pay a portion of the services that they're using.
That's a great idea. I don't know if people had read the Poughkeepsie Journal. They had a number of articles on the
Yes.
implications of properties off the tax rolls and went through different scenarios which enable properties to be removed from the tax rolls. And they did identify it really as a state issue.
Right, it's amazing. I saw that. It's like, Fishkill received like $600,000 and Beacon, or whatever one it was, but opposite sides of the streets, they didn't.
Right, in terms of a pilot.
Right.
And how they're negotiated. So, I think that is a good idea, and I think that's worth doing. So I think that's the way to address the concern about the properties being taken off the tax rolls, and it needs to be more of a global approach than just on a piecemeal. So I then do suggest that we just do an oral resolution, that no further action be taken.
Right.
And so, do I have a second on that?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Opposed.
So the next item on our agenda is the light industrial uses in our town center historic district zoning district. So this is an interesting process that we've kind of been going through. Recently, I think I let people know that I met with the sake manufacturing company from Japan who is interested in pursuing a use at the former Stop and Shop. And so when we started digging into this use to make sure that it was something that would be, obviously we think it's a great use and a great adaptive reuse for that building, that, there probably are ways that we could clarify our zoning to make it very clear that a use that would be of a light industrial nature would work there. So we asked Warren to take a look into our zoning code and see what kind of things that we could do.
Oh, I didn't have anything for you tonight.
Oh, okay. Well, we have it on the,
I think
Do you
Emily
want me to
knows
just
more
go
about
over
this.
the strange paradox that is our
Yeah, I
zoning
think you're more
code?
familiar
Yeah,
with the paradox
okay.
than I am, I'm sorry.
So the Town Center Historic District, which is really just the commercial district along Route 9, in our code, we have what's called general commercial use, and that's pretty much anything anyone does to make money. So the only things that are not part of general commercial use that are things that people can do to make money are things that are otherwise defined. So we have a definition for something called light industrial use. And that is actually not allowed in the Town Center Historic District, which is a little bit strange because basically what that means is we don't have a definition for heavy industrial use. So a heavy industrial use is allowed because it's not defined, but a light industrial use is not allowed because it is defined. So try to wrap your mind around that one.
Yeah.
So the Saki, I mean, it's not really a proposal
what
at this point,
prompted
but it's
the
an inquiry.
conversation, yeah.
And it would be wonderful, is basically a small factory to produce this rice wine and then also have a tourism component to it. Now, if you look at the definition of what makes something a heavy industrial or a light industrial use, this would actually be a heavy industrial use because of the percentage of the alcohol. So it's like, it's not because of the size, or it's just that because it's over a certain percentage alcohol, it would be considered heavy industrial, which means it would be allowed. But this kind of brought up the problem in the code that we're somehow allowing some types of industry, but not others within the commercial corridor on Route 9. And considering the buildings that we'd all love to see refilled, the last thing we want is for the zoning to be standing in the way of that. I don't think it has been, but it's certainly something that we can streamline to make sure it doesn't become a problem for anyone who wants to put some type of, we've got a lot of retail space, and retail, there just isn't as much of a market for as there once was. So, some types of manufacturing or other types of service businesses are probably what's going to end up going in. So, anyway, that's the conundrum.
So I wasn't prepared to solve the conundrum
I
tonight.
thought you were all
But
ready. Yeah.
we only discussed it last Wednesday, so.
Well, I knew you weren't going to have language
I did have to go away
prepared.
this week.
Girls move
So, by the next meeting, I
Okay.
will have hopefully some solutions to the zoning law doesn't, in this respect, doesn't make a lot of sense, and we have to figure out a way to adjust it so that we don't discourage commercial uses that we want to have in the area. So by the next meeting, I will have examined the law and have discussed it internally and then come back with some kind of solution, hopefully.
Well, that's great, perfect. So, but actually, I'm wondering about the other zoning districts. Is light and,
Yes, the
was-
light industrial is
is
allowed.
allowed.
I can't think of which, maybe.
the neighborhood business district?
Maybe East Park Business District
Okay.
or yeah. So I think we need to kind of look at it holistically.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. It shouldn't just
Yeah.
be the Town Center
Right.
Historic
No,
District, that we
we'll
probably want to
look
look
at
at
the
it
whole problem.
for everywhere. So great. I think that's good just to
And of
open
course, we
up
may
our-
not want, super heavy industry either. So it may be more a matter of changing the definition of light industrial to expand it and then including that
Exactly.
instead of, yeah.
especially in the Town Center Historic. It just
Right.
really needs to
Right.
be more obvious and clear.
Right.
Because when I met with the Saki people, they asked me about it. They're like, oh, so I don't think this use is allowed there. And I was like, oh, no, it is. It really is. And they just were like, well, that's not what our consultant said. So,
Yeah.
that's not what we want people thinking.
That's
We
right.
want
We
them
need to fix that.
say that this is the clearest path
Path,
that you
yeah.
can find to development. So good.
The problem is solvable, I can guarantee.
Yes, well, they're always solvable, aren't they? That's your job. Okay, good. All right, so our audience has left, so I don't think we need to have any public comment on the resolution. So, Emily, do you feel ready to start with the first one?
Absolutely. Resolution 1114-1 of 2016, resolution appointing Joshua Betancourt as part-time police assistant.
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
We welcome him aboard.
Yeah. Resolution 1114-2 of 2016, resolution revising the 2017 preliminary budget and approving the 2017 adopted budget.
Second?
And Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Councilwoman Svensson.
Aye.
Councilman Ray.
Aye.
Councilman Marine.
Aye.
Councilman Schneider.
Aye.
Supervisor Rohr.
Aye.
I just wanted to thank, we thanked PC, and he certainly deserves a huge debt of gratitude. But I just wanted to thank the rest of the board for everyone meeting with their department heads and, really drilling down and making sure this is the best budget it can be. It's a great team to work with.
Yeah,
Yes,
thank
it
you.
is.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Resolution 1114-3 of 2016, resolution agreeing to the extension of the time period for the intermunicipal agreement between the Town of Hyde Park and the County of Dutchess for snow removal through December 31st, 2016, and indicating the town's willingness to enter into new intermunicipal agreement for snow removal and ice control services pilot agreement with the County of Dutchess for January 1st, 2017 through April 30th, 2017.
Second?
Maureen, did you want to?
Yeah, let me
review it?
just
Okay,
provide
sure.
some clarification. We have an existing intermunicipal agreement with the county to provide snow removal services for the county, and as well as other municipalities have the same agreements. And apparently, they found the process for doing this and charging back and doing the economics of it very cumbersome, and the county has come up with a new IMA, which looked okay to me, which will take place next year, January 1st. So what we needed to do is to indicate to the county, I spoke to Gary Cooper about this, that we're willing to continue with our existing program to the end of the year, and indicating our agreement to agree to sign the new intermunicipal agreement for next year, for January 1st through April 30th. But I wanted to see some changes made to that agreement because our original agreement with the county had a stipulation that the town would not be responsible for the duties that are set forth in an agreement dated December 12, 2001 between the County of Dutchess and Hyde Park Landing and Peter Andros and Catherine S. Andros for snow removal for their property on River Road. So that, and we have it in our existing IMA. We're not required to do that work. So I wanted to make sure that that was carried through to the new IMA.
Oh, well, thank you for catching that.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
are you saying the county has an agreement with Peter Andros to plow his personal property?
To remove snow from the fence along.
Oh.
And
Oh, the fence.
so, and we did not want to get involved in
No,
that.
we do not.
So they agreed to, so our existing IMA has a provision which clearly indicates that we're not liable for that.
Good.
So I just want to make sure that's carried through on the new IMA, so they will do that.
So are they revising it and then sending it?
Yeah, we're
to
not,
us?
we
Okay.
don't have the new,
Okay.
we're just
We're just
indicating
allowing that.
that we
might-
will sign.
Okay.
So they do have to get a copy of this so they understand. And if you want, I've already discussed it with Gary Cooper,
Okay.
but I can do that again.
So you'll send it to them, or you want Caroline to do that?
If you could have Caroline send
Okay.
it, and I'll follow up. I'm actually going to see Gary on Thursday night, so I'll probably discuss it with him.
Can I just give a little background on
Sure.
how we got to this point?
Sure.
So, yeah, the town plows about 14 miles of county roads within the town of Hyde Park. And I guess about a month ago, the county reached out to us, and actually, before that, I had written to them and said, is there any way we can make this agreement simpler? Because it's really been driving Walt and Dawn and the crew crazy trying to keep track of all the details. And lo and behold, the county was thinking the same thing, and so they got all the towns together and asked about creating a better agreement. And normally, the agreements are done on a season basis, so they're not by the calendar year, they're by the snow season. And when Aileen and I went to the meeting, and it seemed as if pretty much all the towns said, sign us up, we want to start today. And the county said, oh, well, maybe we can get it in place for this winter, but it was already, getting to be the end of October, and it just really was too late for that to happen. So I'm just really glad that the county did find a way to just extend the current arrangement through December and get the simplified agreement in place for January through March. It's going to be just really better all around, that we'll know what amount to budget for that we'll be getting as income, and it's just going to be a tremendous reduction in the paperwork burden. And so I wanted to thank the county for coming up with that solution. And I also wanted to thank Walt. As soon as he heard about the possibility, he gave me a call and said that he really wanted to follow up on it. And so here we are.
You do have to sign there's an agreement to extend. If you don't have a copy of that, I'll give it to you when we get together on Wednesday.
Okay.
To extend the current agreement, and
Okay.
that's part of the resolution allowing you to do
Right.
that, so,
Okay.
Good.
Sounds good.
yeah, it's great.
Okay, so do we have a second?
Second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Anyone have any other,
Are we having executive or no?
pardon me?
We doing executive or no? I thought you
No,
were-
I think not.
We're good?
I think, yeah, we're good. We are having our holiday tree lighting, December 4th, I believe that is, at 4:30. So just wanted to let people know, and put that on their calendar. And I don't think that I have any other town business. So may I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved?
And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That was a very
is Sunday.
quick meeting.
Yeah, very efficient.
December 4th is also Vanderbilt's open house, too.
Or letting it go in.
4th.
What's that?
There was no objection to Beck, though. They were all over that woman, I guess. She was mistaken. She thought we were
$4, you said?
objecting.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but that was good.